What's up, guys? Today we're talking about the new king of HVZ, the Dart Zone Vulcanator. Let's get into it. Starting out with what comes in the box. So first we've got the blaster itself. Stripped down like this actually just kind of looks like a shotgun, which is kind of funny. But this blaster will not even work unless you have these removable mag feed lips installed. Anyways, I got one installed here. They do have arrows on them to point which direction that they need to be installed in. And I have the other one here. On the bright side, you cannot install them incorrectly. They just won't fit unless you put them in the right way. So that's a positive. The mag releases are on these themselves, located here on the front. They do attach with this little clip system, which I gotta say is not the strongest, so more on that. It also has a full length of this like faux Picatinny. It's very similar but not the same as what Nerf uses for their end strike. And it is pretty much the same as other Dart Zone releases like the Tomahawk 60. It also comes with this fake scope here. I say fake because, well, it doesn't have any magnifying properties or even any glass. It's completely hollow, but it does have like a little like crosshairs type thing, and it is cool. This is not really functional, but definitely for aesthetics. Regardless, I kind of like it. And like I mentioned, it does in fact fit on Nerf end strike. Not the smoothest. There's a little bit of resistance, a little extra friction there, but yeah, pretty much the same. If you move around to the back, it has this basically end strike attachment point. They've been doing that a lot with releases since the Tomahawk 60. We've seen it on the Tomcat. We've seen it on the Dart Zone Pro Mark 1.2. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that the patent has expired, or Dart Zone doesn't care about legality. But it does mean that you can attach your favorite Nerf stocks here or other ones like the ones that Dart Zone has released in the past. You don't have to though, because they gave you one. It's not adjustable, but it is pretty sturdy, all things considered. They also include 2 of these 12-round full-length magazines. The magazines also have arrows on them and also cannot be put in the wrong way, so fairly foolproof. And no blaster would be complete without darts to go in them. More specifically, 24 of these chili darts. Now that we've got this blaster fully assembled, we can go over here to the battery tray, unscrew this here, and install our 6 AAA batteries that power this blaster. And we're pretty much ready to go. It kind of has this more like sci-fi, cyberpunk, like Western crossover vibe. It's kind of hard to explain. I guess you could say steampunk, but I'm not really sure if that's the terminology that I'm looking for. Mostly that steampunk design language to me comes right here in this little like trigger guard. The rest of it has more of a sci-fi vibe. The color scheme is right in line with what Dart Zone's been doing with blasters like the Tomahawk 60, so no surprises there. I think the Magnum X2 also came in a very similar, or if not the same color scheme, so which is pretty cool. Let's move on to compatibility. Now, I'm sure that you guys looked at this thing and thought the same thing that I did, and that's, well, 12-round mags. I want way more than 24 rounds. So let's go through the mags that you can use and why you should or shouldn't use them. Now, just to clarify, this right here is the mag that comes with the Vulcanator, and this right here is the mag that comes with the Nexus Pro. Now, aside from a few texture differences and minor design differences, to me, these seem like pretty much the same thing. The springs don't seam anymore. Maybe maybe the spring does have a little bit more push to it, but either way, they are compatible, so you can pretty much just swap these however you want. Moving one step up in capacity, we've got the Dart Zone Pro Mark III full-length mag, and this carries 15 rounds, so 3 more rounds per mag. So if you had 2 of them, you'd have 6 total extra on your blaster. This does look very interesting and definitely protrudes a lot farther, but I still think it's pretty usable. Next up is the Worker 22 mag. So this is a pretty sizable jump. If you had 2 of these on here, you would have 44 darts. So yeah, that's a 20 round capacity increase. So Definitely probably my recommendation for this, although it really does stick out significantly further on this blaster. We also have this 25 round drum mag from Blaster Parts. This is made by Busby and is pretty much a carbon copy in a different colorway than the Rebel Mech drum mag, but you can buy it separately. I got mine on Out of Darts, and if you want to see more about accessories, let me know down in the comments. Maybe I'll include this in an accessories video or a drum mag video in the future. But yeah, anyways, 25 rounds, and it does in fact fit. It actually fits the color scheme pretty nice. Moving up from there, we've got the 35 round drum mag from Nerf. This one also does fit. It is offset though, so it does have an asymmetrical look should you choose to run 2 of them. So just something to note. And this is also at the point where you start to run into this problem, and that's if you shake it around too much, this thing will just come right out. There is a solution for this, and that would be to put some super glue or epoxy into this joint here before you put it on, let it dry, and then you should hopefully not be running into this issue anymore. But basically, this is the point where you'd have to either do that or not use these mags. Otherwise, these are going to be falling out a lot. You could damage the blaster, and you could damage the drum mag, so not ideal. At the moment, there's no printed solution for this problem, but I think there will be either something that ties these two together, replacements for this mechanism entirely, or just some interesting options, because that's just the way the community works. You guys are very, very smart and very creative. So I can't wait to see what solutions come up with that. Now, I'm going to show you the thing I think you guys want to see, but I don't recommend this. Even if you glue this, I'm still a little worried about it. And that is the 50 round drum mag from the CS Titan. This fits, but as you can see, it falls off extremely easily. Just a little jarring here and there. Even with glue, the weight of this worries me. But stepping up from the 12 round to the 15 round, you get an extra total 6 darts if you do it to both sides. Stepping up to the 22, you get an extra 20 over the original. Stepping up to that 30 round drum mag, you're getting 36 extra rounds. Stepping up to the 35s, I want to say you're getting into the 45-ish extra rounds. Here, you're going to get 76 extra rounds if you ran 2 of these. Now, that being said, I think running 2 of these would also be very heavy as a loadout. Again, I don't recommend this. And also, it would fit. It doesn't pass the center line of the blaster, so theoretically 2 would fit. But I think you're going to block out pretty much everything that you want to see. If you were to run it like this, which I think is definitely something that Dart Zone intended based on the location of the grip, I still think you'd probably run into some issues with where it sits. Like, it rests on my arm before I get to this location. So would it look ridiculous? Would it look intimidating? Yes, but I really don't think that's functional. But back to the way it came, 2 12 round mags. Speaking of this pump grip, if you do remove the 2 screws under here, there is no Picatinny or faux Picatinny, just in case you were wondering, which means that in order to change out the grip, we're going to be relying on the community to come up with some 3D printed solutions, most likely. I would have liked to see that under here, even if it was like, you know, this faux Picatinny, just because I don't really like the pump grip setup for this blaster. When I'm holding it, it doesn't really feel natural to hold it here. It feels natural to hold it closer here. And I think that mostly comes down to the length of this stock, since it's not adjustable. But if it had some Picatinny, I would attach a vertical foregrip, and then this positioning would seem more natural to me. Now, I'm an adult. For a kid, I think it's going to be even more of a problem. Kids are going to have to hold it even closer here. Unless you're holding it like this, and then all of that just kind of goes away, because that's completely different ergonomics and positioning. Just so you know, this blaster does retail at 30 bucks, but I've seen it on sale multiple times since it came out, and one was for like 15% off. That was like a Dart Zone sale, I think, at Target. The other was like a 25% off one toy, and that was a Target sale, so it didn't really have to be applied to this, but... And I definitely think that that is a good price, and something you could pick up if you're looking for something cheap and fun. But let's talk about the performance for a second. Ooh. 86, then 72. Shot as low as 70. I'm 57. So it's not easy to test this blaster because of the fact that it's only full auto. But if you saw there, we had shots of like 100. We saw one shot as low as 50 something, 56 I think it was. But basically it kind of sits in the 80s area. 72 is even a little bit lower than what I was seeing before. Alright guys, so as you can see, this blaster performs a little better than the average Nerf blaster, but not by much. Far from a competitive level, and I don't think it's intended for competitive players like myself in the slightest. I think this will, however, be a great blaster for another use case, which we'll talk about after we do a little bit of a firing demo and kind of see how accurate it is. Alright, so we've got our blaster loaded up. We've got about 30 feet to this target, roughly. And we're going to do things a little differently. Normally I would fire one at a time, but this blaster isn't really that great at firing one at a time. So we're just going to fire a few rounds and see how we do. Alright, let's head back inside and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, so as you can see, as you would have guessed, this blaster shoots around 3 or 4 darts per second, which is not a lot, but it's also not a little, since it's fully auto. And it's not very accurate, but it's not totally inaccurate. Basically, for a blaster like this, you know, under 100 FPS, accuracy is kind of hard to measure. But really it accomplishes hitting its targets through higher rate of fire. But yeah, this blaster isn't really meant for accuracy. This is a low-powered flywheeler. And yeah, now we'll get into my final thoughts of who I think this blaster is for and who should buy it. Right, so the use case that I was talking about earlier that this blaster shines in is going to be humans versus zombies game modes. I did get a chance to play with this blaster at an HVZ game, and so we're going to talk a little bit about the mechanism here and how it works. Basically, the blaster will feed one mag until it's done, and then it will switch over to feeding from the other mag. It doesn't actually alternate, so you don't fire one, then one, back and forth until it runs out. It fires all of this one, then moves on to this one. And the reason why that is good, actually, is because you can use up all of one, reload the next one, and still have this one to fire while you're reloading. So if someone surprises you, a zombie or another player, depending on your game mode, yeah, you could definitely keep yourself from getting eaten on a reload. With bigger mags, that will be much easier, I think, to manage. With 12-round mags, I think you could still definitely get caught with your pants down, quote unquote. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. So I joked earlier that this might be the new king of HVZ, and although I think it is a very strong option, especially if it was modified to shoot a little harder around the 100 to 120 range, I definitely think it would be a good option. I don't think it was going to beat out something along the lines of a Prometheus, you know, or a proton pack, something with rival balls and a hopper that has a high rate of fire and a huge capacity. But again, I do think it's a strong option. So yeah, at 30 bucks or less, if it's on sale, I definitely say this is something you should try. It's fun, and it's a why not blaster, you know? Why not? I like that Dart Zone is keeping it interesting, and trying new things. But let me know what your thoughts are on this blaster. Dartzone's been coming out with a lot of things this year, so, you know, is this one of your favorites, or is there something else that caught your eye? Let me know down in the comments. Either way, we've still got one more to go over, and that is the Dartzone Mark 2.1. That is the mag-fed pistol for this year, and then we'll be all caught up with what Dartzone's doing. But I hope you have a blast. I'll see you on the next video, and until next time on The King of Games.
Oh, he's got hit. Wait, he's invincible, he's invincible. Watch out, the invincible guy's behind you. I got.